Welcome ladies and gentlemen to my Magicka Sorcerer PvP build for the Non-Championpoints Campaign. You will find additional information on alcasthq.com/rough. We are on the Non-Championpoints Campaign, that's this one here. Those things don't work there, okay? Very important to know or to remember. In the first part of the video I want to talk about the basics, and in the second part I will show you off some gameplay and what kind of combos you should aim for and all that kind of stuff. To show you my stats when I am fully buffed. We do sit at 3.3k Magicka recovery, 2.4k spell damage. We do have Emperor bonus at the moment, so you should be around 21k health, which is more than enough. You will have 20% spell crit, or like 22, something like that. Very important, we are in heavy armor. Why do I choose heavy armor over light armor, although we are a Magicka Sorcerer? Now the reason is, for me, I tried light armor, and the thing is, if you have 2 or 3 enemies on you, they will just insta-gib you, especially if they all use Dawnbreaker or an Incap, whatsoever, you're dead. Sure, you have a shield, but it's not enough. But in heavy armor, if 3 people try to kill you, it's no problem. If they CC you whatsoever and your shield actually drops, you still have very nice resistances that actually save you. Believe me, I tried. Now, I also do recommend play this in a small group, because, well, solo PvP in general is really difficult, and this build is made to be played in a small group, or whatever you want. And make sure to have at least some kind of healing support in your group. I will get to why later. Now, we are using the Atronach Mundus Stone, because we need the Magicka recovery. Then, in terms of race, I am a high elf, so high elf, Breton or dark elf all work, even imperial, it doesn't really matter. But like, I recommend being high elf or a Breton or a dark elf, just to say this. Now as you can see, like, we have actually pretty good stats here. 32k Magicka, 21k health, and like 12 to 13k stamina in the Non-Championpoints Campaign. That's pretty high. Sure, you could get it up, but we also have insane sustain with the sets. In terms of buff food, first we are using this one here, the Tri-Stat. You really want this because you need the extra stamina. If people CC you, you need to be able to break free. So that's why I say use this here. In terms of potions, there is 2 pots I use. Either those here, immovable pots, CC, immunity for 15 to 16 seconds, really strong. Gives me health and Magicka back. I will put the ingredients on my website if you don't know how to craft those. Sometimes I also use those, simply because they give a speed buff. Or those here, because if there is sneaky night blades, you want a detection, it's good, very nice. In terms of sets, we are using 5 pieces Seducer, 5 Lich, and 2 Pirate Skeleton. Those are very defensive sets, however, it doesn't matter, you will still be easily able to kill people, simply because either you out-sustain them or you get the right combo off and they're dead. Now, again, you want to have 5 heavy armor, 1 medium, 1 light. Just to get the max out of the Undaunted skill here. At the moment I only have, I think I have 6 heavy, 1 light, something like that, so I don't get 6%. I've chosen the chest to be reinforced simply because it gives me more armor and all that stuff. And all the other stuff, make sure to be impenetrable. And then all Magicka enchants. I have well fitted here because I don't have an impen head yet. Just saying. Like, you will find the best in slot setup on my website. Now Seducer is really strong, as you know. We are in heavy armor, we are on the Non-Championpoints Campaign, we don't get any cost reduction from anywhere. So this here helps, gives us 8% Magicka cost reduction. +2 recovery bonuses, really nice. Then the Lich. So I'm using one Seducer stuff here, and on the back bar the 5-piece Seducer is not active, however the Lich bonus will be active. So when you fall below 33% Magicka, all you need to do is weapon swap for 1 second and you get the buff and you swap back. That's all you need, and it will stay on you for the whole 20 seconds. It doesn't go away. Then we have 3 spell damage glyphs here. That's why our spell damage is actually pretty decent. Pirate Skeleton. This set is really strong. You see, it gives us 30% damage reduction. It reduces our healing received, but it doesn't matter that much, because we have a shield, Hardened Ward, it scales of our Magicka, and the 30% damage reduction works on our shield. So we are really fucking tanky. If you get hit by 3 to 5 people, you drop your shield, or let's say the skeleton procs, you have your shield up. We have almost AK shield. It takes them a while to get through there because you have so much, the 30% mitigation is insane. And they can crit, because people can't crit shields. Even if it drops, you're still in heavy armor. You really don't give a shit. You just break free because we have a lot of stam. We can shield back up and we're good to go. Then, poisons. So, what you want to use are those poisons. I will put the ingredients on my website. It increases the cost of enemies' magic abilities or stamina abilities by 60% for 6.4 seconds. Now, a lot of fights on the Non-Championpoints Campaign come down to sustain. That's why they will never break us, but we will break them, because we will out-sustain them, and goodbye enemy. It's really simple. People fucking hate those poisons, but everybody's using them, they are very effective. Another thing to note is, as we are in heavy armor, we of course have the Constitution passive, so every 4 seconds we get 930 magic and stamina back. Also very strong. So we never really run out of stamina. That's why we always can break free, and we will not die because we can't like break free anymore because we are stunned or whatever. That's it about the gear. Now let's move on to the skills. We're using Hardened Ward here. You see, it's pretty nice. Gives us almost an AK shield. It doesn't sound like it's huge, but it's more than enough, because on the Non-Championpoints Campaign most people don't have a lot of damage. So it's more than enough. Crystal Frag. This is our highest damage ability. You see, like, it procs on, like, it has a 33% chance to proc. Deals 20% more damage and it costs less. Really cool. So we only use this when this instantly procs. So when I cast, for example, my shield, it can proc. You see, now it's glowing, so it's ready. It doesn't have any cast time anymore whatsoever. Crushing Shock. This here is our spammable. Basically, we want to use this as long as this is not ready, and once it procs, you shoot this and voila. Now, we are using Crushing Shock over Force Pulse because this interrupts enemies. Let's say somebody is casting, I don't know, some channel ability, and you use this on them, they will get interrupted. That's why we prefer this. Then Mage's Wrath. Now, this is our execute ability. Can hit really hard and it has splash damage. We don't need the other morph, which gives us Magicka, because we already have enough sustain. Radiant Mage Light. This is here to give us 10% extra spell critical. Plus, if there is a Nightblade around, you can use this to detect him. And if we are riding around on a horse, for example, a gank blade tries to gank you, it's not gonna work, because you see, you also prevent the stun and reduce the damage from stealth attacks by 50%. So if somebody tries to gank you and you don't have your shield up, they will do 0 damage. Well, not 0, but really little. It's not gonna one-shot you. Shooting Star. So now the thing is, you can either use Shooting Star or Destruction ulti here, Eye of the Storm. I prefer the Shooting Star because the combo you can make with it is really nice, because when Crystal Frag procs, you can use Shooting Star, Crystal Frag. He will get stunned, like knocked down if he doesn't block, and then in the same time the Shooting Star hits him in the face and he's fucking dead. Just vaporized, goodbye. And you can also use Execute after you shot the Crystal Frag. He's most likely dead anyway, but just to be sure. On the back bar, we are using Power Surge. Now we get our spell damage buff from here, which is really nice. You also see, while active, dealing a critical strike heals you for 3k health. Now, we have really low spell critical, so it almost never procs. That's why I say you want to play this in a small group, because you kind of rely on a healer. Haunting Curse. This is another high damage ability and very annoying to fight. Enemies cannot block this ability, and the damage it will hit them. Now you see the first explosion goes off after 3.5 seconds and then the second one after 12. I will show you in a second how you can combo like the Haunting Curse, the Crystal Frag and the Meteor in the second part. Elemental Drain. This ability is vastly underused by people, I don't know why. Now, first off, it gives major breach to the enemies, reducing their spell resistance by 5.3k. So that will give you, that alone will give you like a 10% damage increase, more or less. Plus, it applies minor Magicka steal, which works for everyone in your group, giving you like 400 Magicka every 1 second, so that equals 800 Magicka recovery. It's really insane. So we always want to make sure to have this on the enemy. Daedric Mines. We only use the mines if we either want to retreat, so people have to go through them, or if you have like annoying melee dudes on you, you can kite them around your mines, and they have to walk through them to actually get to you, and the mines deal a shit ton of damage. And Streak. Now this is our main escape ability. It is also nice because it stuns several enemies. If you get pounded down by 3 to 4 dudes, just streak once, drop your mines. They will get stunned, you have breath in room here. Now do not stay too long on this bar because we don't have a shield on this bar, remember. You always want to make sure to keep your shield up. Sometimes you can cast 2 abilities, you have to swap back because you need to recast your shield. We have a third bar, so we are using Overload here. We never actually use this skill ultimate, it's just here to give us more like slots. For example, Boundless Storm. So before I engage in a fight, I use Boundless Storm. Deals nice damage and it gives us major ward and major resolve, so increasing our spell and physical resistance, which is nice. And Dark Conversion, so this is a really strong ability. In case you still have sustain issues, you can use this. Because when I use my skills, we have quite a lot of stamina. And now you see, I use it. It gives me back so much Magicka for like 2k stamina, it's insane. It's actually kind of fucking OP. And the Harness Magicka here simply because we want to have a shield in case we get hit while we are on the Overload bar. That's basically the skill setup, which is important, and I would leave it like this. Now you could add another shield if you want, however I say this is more than enough and we are tanky enough. Another important thing to note, for example Implosion, when you deal shock damage you have a 6% chance to instantly disintegrate enemies under 15% health. So it can be very nice if you have the Boundless armor on, for example, because it can proc Implosion. Something to consider. That's basically the general setup. Now let's just go show you some gameplay where I want to kind of show you how you should play it, and also show you the efficiency of the heavy armor. As you can see here, as long as I keep my shield up, it is very easy for me to get no damage, although the enemy uses proc sets and dots. but it's very hard for him to get through my shields because we have so much sustain. We never run out of resources. And I make sure to put elemental drain on the enemy, so he gets 10% more damage and we get more Magicka back. Because we are using cost poisons, he will get into sustain issues at some point, and therefore he will have either trouble healing back up, and then we can have an easy kill. Even when we drop our shields for a second, he barely does any damage, because we are in heavy armor, we don't give a shit. We always have stamina to break free because of the constitution passive, which is also provided by heavy armor. Midway into the fight he barely has any resources because of our cost poisons, and we are just good to go. Full stamina, we can get our Magicka back to full in just a second if Lich procs, and it's just very nice. Here we are in a small group, and I just want you to pay attention to my health bars and like resources in general. Even when I like drop my shield for a second or two and I have several enemies on me, I don't really get a lot of damage. If I was in light armor, I would be dead. But in heavy armor, I really get low incoming damage, so I have time to break free and shield back up. I use the Hardened Ward ability, so my shield almost every second skill, because I really don't want to drop my shields. And as you can see, every time I activate Hardened Ward, I get the chance to proc a crystal frag proc, which is really nice and it deals a shit ton of damage. Here I kinda dropped low on Magicka because I didn't use elemental drain enough, so I decided to use streak to go like into the back where there are no enemies, so I can use my overload bar and use dark conversion to regain Magicka. I got the crystal proc, use shooting star, hit him with the crystal frag, he gets knocked down and can't block the meteor, so he gets a shit ton of damage. As you can see, like, I keep dropping crit surge. It's because I don't bar swap often enough to actually keep it up, because you really want that spell damage buff up on all times if possible. Another way to restore resources are heavy attack with a shock staff. So when you are not in the front and you have nobody on you, you actually can do a few heavy attacks. It does really nice splash damage and it gives you quite a lot of Magicka back. During this whole fight there was not one situation where I couldn't break free. That's why I say heavy armor is really nice, because it also, like the constitution passives, returns so much stamina, so we always can immediately break free and shield up again. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comment section below. Thank you for watching and see you in another video. Cheers.